And speaking of LA, the Lakers didn't win their 7th game of the season until the turn of the year last season. This season, they've already won 7 games and we're only midway through November. Progress. The Lakers have now won 6 of their last 8 and are 2 games over 500. Max Kellerman. Is it time to take the Lake Show seriously?
Yes, the baby Lakers are for real. Now, in the NBA, what's been shown in recent years is after, I believe it's 22 games, we know the playoff seeding already. Like, look at the records after 22 games. That's what the playoff seeding is going to be. Right now, they are, 12 games in, 10 games in? And so there's a little time still for the Lakers. Let's see what happens. However, when you look at the standings and who's, right now they're ahead of the Thunder. That should not continue. But you tell me the team that's for sure going to be the 8th seed over the Lakers in the West. The Grizzlies, the Kings, the Nuggets, the T-Wolves, the Suns, the Mavericks, the Pelicans. There's no sure thing in there. Luke Walton has turned Julius Randle from a guy who looked like a bust to boom. He has Nick Young playing defense. Think about that for a second. Nick Young is playing consistent defense. D'Angelo Russell looks terrific much of the time, as does Clarkson. And, they have and by the way, this is without their number 2 draft pick really strong enough yet to assert himself in the NBA. The Lakers' future looks bright. But their present ain't bad either. They could make the playoffs in the West. I can't believe I'm saying this. They could do it this year.
Few things I wanted to point out. Number one, Julius Randle didn't look like a bust. His first year, he never played because he got injured the very first game. Last year, he came back. That was the Kobe era. So this is really, as far as I'm concerned, his first year. He's never looked like a bust. Nick Young, a.k.a. Swaggy P. But when you get yourself dimed out, caught in certain situations, and your heart gets a little broke, you kind of tend to prioritize. So he's not as distracted, per se, this year as he may have been in years past. That's something we have to take into consideration. That may have been facilitating his growth as a player on both ends of the floor. I'll tell you where it will shock you, and it'll stop the presses right here. I alluded to this weeks ago, and I will say it again. First of all, I will be at the Lakers Spurs Friday night. I'll be interested to see that game. It's going to be a big test for them, no doubt about it. I want to sit there, and I promised I was going to lay off Jim Buss. I've been very nice to that man, all right, since this season, because I'm fond of his hiring of Luke Walton. I am a fan of Luke Walton. I think this guy is a golden boy, and I think he's going to prove to be an exceptional coach in this game. I really like Luke Walton, and I love his daddy, so that don't help Bill Walton. Who doesn't love Bill Walton? But here's the deal. He's the best. But here's the deal. Luke Walton does have a 29th ranked defense, who's second to last in field goal percentage allowed, or third worst, rather, second to last in field goal percentage allowed, 3-point shooting rather allowed, and what have you. We got to pay attention to that. 5 of the next 6 games are going to tell me what I need to know about the Los Angeles Lakers, albeit this early. It's because 82-game schedule. You got the Spurs, you got the Bulls, you got 2 games, you got Oklahoma City, you got 2 games against the Golden State Warriors, who you shellacked by 20. They will remember this. And keep in mind that this is the same Lakers squad that just got blown out by Minnesota and gave up 47 to Andrew Wiggins. So let's not forget that here. We like what we're seeing from the Lakers, but it's essentially a byproduct based off of what we've seen from them the last 2 years, which was horrendous. So because of that, anything they give us that's relatively decent is something we're going to be happy about. That's what we're looking at right now.
You're right. The next half dozen games, we'll see what they're made of. They started the season, they've already beaten the Warriors this year.
That's what I said.
They have some quality wins and some quality losses.
That was the second back-to-back. Remember the Warriors played the night before.
Still the Warriors.
Oklahoma City. I'm just saying.
The Warriors. They beat the Hawks.
Right.
They beat the Rockets.
That's
8-2 team, 6-4 team.
That's right.
They have some quality wins. Yeah. Even in their losses, they have usually been competitive and decided in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. The Lakers have come a long way. Now, the T-Wolves on paper look more talented, sure. But I want to talk about Julius Randle for a second. You said he never looked like a bust. I think he did. Not in terms of his skills. You could see he had skills. He could handle the ball for a big-ish guy, etc. But the way he was applying his skills made me wonder, watching him, last year especially, because he was hurt the year before, made me wonder, is he actually going to be a good NBA player, or is he going to be a player who looks good and puts up numbers but doesn't help you win?
Yeah, but
he is a good NBA player.
But I'm saying what you're wondering about, you can't ignore the fact that he was coming off an injury. And because he was coming off that injury, they say it takes a year or so. So he may have been playing the way that he was playing to compensate for whatever he was physically however he physically felt he was lacking because he was coming off that injury. But also keep in mind, we have to wait and see because, again, this schedule that you've got coming up, if Luke Walton, you know what me tell you what Luke Walton deserved the biggest credit for? Jordan Clarkson and Louis Williams off the bench. Because you got
their
smart
second
plug.
unit's as good as their first
I'm just
unit,
saying,
yeah.
you got guys coming off the bench with firepower. That, to me, getting Swaggy P in the starting lineup, but getting them coming off the bench is big.
Randall, by the way, just because you can dribble doesn't mean you always should. Now he's taking it off the glass, pushing it, and getting rid of the ball.
I'm a fan of Randall.
Walton has them playing well,
I'm a fan of Randall. Randall can play.
Baby Lakers bringing the Lake Show back slowly but surely. And Cam Newton, he's bringing the dab back.